Hey guys, Ed here from Daily Downshift. So I found this article online, and this was the date on it's for today. I just saw it today. I don't know if it's any older than that. It can't be too old though because it's referencing the new. It's got the new Hemi in there in the new Ram, so it can't be that old. But I thought it was interesting because I've actually seen a few of these from different. I don't know what you call them, news outlets or news organizations when what deals with automotive type things. I don't know how relevant Edmunds is anymore. I know when I was a lot younger, maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago, I used to use it or I used to go to it. I don't think I go to it anymore. I don't think I'll go to it again after this article, but that's just my personal opinion. So I don't want to sway you. Let's dive in and take a look at it. I'm really curious to see what you guys think. So headline of the article, do you really need the Ram 1500's V8 engine? We tested out against the inline-six to find out. Written by Emmy Hall, and she's actually, I believe, the one in the video as well. I'm going to play a little bit of the video and add some of my commentary, and then add it. You know, it says it's edited by Clint. I don't know either one of them. I haven't seen any one of their articles before, at least the best of my knowledge. I do think it's a really interesting article. High level, Emmy's trying to say that the inline-six is much better than the V8 and that the V8 is really just a lifestyle choice. Let me go on and let me play some of the video and I'll add some commentary. Again, really want you guys' feedback on that. See if I'm completely out in left field here and if I'm wrong. So let me start the video though.
But when Ram brought back that 1500, it was like, no more V8. And then it was like, psych, we're going to bring it back anyway. I know, flip-flop, flip-flop.
So just to know, and Emmy doesn't touch on it. I know when Ram got rid of the Hemi and then they re-released the Hemi. Even Tim, the Ram CEO, had announced there had been over 10,000 orders of the V8 within 24 hours. So obviously people wanted the Hemi because they sold 10,000 of them within 24 hours. So the jokes, the humor she's got there, I don't think she's taking into account that the user base, the people that drive Ram trucks, wanted a V8. That's not saying the inline-six is bad. That's not saying these Hurricanes aren't any good. But people wanted the Hemi. But she doesn't mention that at all, which I think it's pretty interesting because she could have talked about the sales numbers.
But the question remains, is the V8 just like
a lifestyle accessory? Is whether or not I go outside with sunglasses on, not the engine in my vehicle.
Value to the truck.
We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you want to know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with it.
So, point of reference, I don't think they should be trying to rate cars off of what's the best. I think they should just give you the information on the vehicle itself. I don't need their opinion on what's the best because I don't think I'm going to agree with what's the best as what they will.
All right, let's get the numbers out of the way. Now, this truck right here has got the back from the dead 5.7 liter V8. That truck over there will a standard output 6-cylinder engine. And y'all, on paper, I mean, the V8 is not looking very good, but...
Let me just pause it there. So a lot of you probably know this, and just from what I know, and I don't drive a Ram truck, but I've certainly looked at them. To get the high output engine, you have to buy one of the very top trims of a Ram truck. So you can't get the high output in, say, a Bighorn. I think the only options the Bighorn will have is either the standard Hurricane or the Hemi engine. So you're not going to get the 540 horsepower engine in a lower trim. You actually have to buy the RHO or one of their top trims that's going to cost you anywhere from 70 to 90K for 1500, which is already ridiculous as it is. But to even get that engine, you have to pay a lot more than what you would for the standard for one of the lower trims. And I don't believe most Americans at this point are dropping 90K, 85K, 80K on a Ram 1500 just so that they can get that high output version of the Hurricane. So not a fair comparison. One engine costs a whole lot more than the other one. If I was to try to switch from the Hemi to the high output, the price would go up almost double. So
numbers do not tell the whole story. Now
that's right, they don't
really know this 6-cylinder engine, and that's because we bought this truck with our own hard-earned dollars. It is part of our 1-year road test fleet, and that's where we drive these cars and trucks just the way you would until you...
Maybe a little bias already because they admitted that they did buy one of the Hurricane trucks, and that's their tester. So already a little biased that they bought that and not one of the V8 trucks.
what happens. And some of the comments that we've gotten on this engine from Edmunds employees are like, holy cow, and this thing rips. And I gotta say, like, I agree with them.
I wonder how many of those people drive Subarus.
You put your foot down in this thing and plus it's really, really smooth, all of this acceleration, and the transmission just works really well with this. There's no like herky jerky back and forth. I love driving this truck. I don't hear a lot of noise or vibration or harshness that's coming through into the cabin. All in all, it's just a really great driving.
That's a personal preference that you don't hear anything in the cabin itself. A lot of people like hearing the rumble of the V8 or any engine they get. Understanding she doesn't want that though. She wants it perfectly quiet. That's really just a personal preference though.
Experience. And listen, that's not just for me, that's also from our testing folks, because they clocked this thing from 0 to 60 at 4.7 seconds. That is quicker than the 6-cylinder Raptor. I know, right? It's crazy. In fact, even the standard output 6-cylinder in this vehicle is only a half a second slower to 60. All in all, this powertrain is the real deal. And if you're looking for that real deal on a used car, we've got all kinds of tools over on Edmunds.com.
So she spent the first couple minutes just pumping up the 6-cylinder.
I will drop a link in the description, so check it out. Okay, I mean, yes, this definitely sounds better. This V8 sounds so good. I just wish that it actually were better. I mean, if you drive this in a vacuum and you don't put it up against the 6-cylinder, you'd be like, yeah, this thing's great. But it just can't compare. It's not as smooth in the acceleration. The transmission just feels a little like, well, where am I going? What am I doing? And it just never feels like it's really in the right power band. And we found that in our testing too. 0 to 60 in this, 6.9 seconds. You guys, that is
So we know the Hemi's a little long in the tooth. They need to do some updating on that. There's been some rumors that they're going to do some updating on the Hemi. I don't think anybody argue that. It's been the 5.7 forever. I will say though, when it comes to reliability, the standard 5.7 Hemi is probably going to be slightly more reliable than any engine with turbos, multiple turbos, and any other slap-on thing you got on there, just because of the points of failure and the stress on the engine itself. Again, price point difference too if you're talking the high output.
2.2 seconds slower than the high output 6-cylinder. That is an absolute eternity. And I want to talk about fuel economy as well. So we had a 2019 version of this same truck with this same 5.7 liter engine, and that's rated for 17 miles per gallon, but over 34,000 miles of driving, we got about 15 miles per gallon. Now in our 6-cylinder, we've driven that for 12,000 miles and we're getting 15.7 miles per gallon. Now, I mean, that's just a mile per gallon different, right? It's not that big of a difference, but if you're commuting a lot, it might make a huge difference to your pocketbook. So our testing numbers really do tell the whole story here, right? I got more power and more torque in that 6-cylinder.
So I'm not going to play the whole video. You can kind of see the direction they're going. When you look at the article itself, it doesn't really go any different. They spend the majority of the article here. I think, look at this piece. If you drive the V8 in a vacuum, it feels great. It sounds, makes you feel like you're the ruler of all you behold. But when you get into the high output 6, foibles are obvious. I don't know if it sounds good. It's probably a lot of fun to drive. It's certainly got more horsepower than the Raptor, and with a similar price point, I don't know if that means that it's better. I've seen a lot of videos of that engine and that car or that truck specifically getting check engine lights. I follow some guys on YouTube that have had it for a year and a half, and they've gotten multiple check engine lights. So again, I don't want to say that one's better than the other. What I do think is funny though is for, Edmunds to come out so aggressively and say that this engine is that much better and not really take into account all the other pieces. I just think they're a little biased. So yeah, curious what you think. Do any of you drive either one of them? What's your personal preference? If you had an older Ram with the 5.7 and you're looking to get a new Ram, would you try to get the standard output Hurricane or the high output, or would you just go back to another Hemi, or are you switching to something else completely? Give me your thoughts, feedback. If you like the video, please subscribe. Trying to put out more of these. I thought this was a good one just to kind of cover, because I know this kind of really made me chuckle as I read it and I watched the video. So have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you later.